We're going to be looking at our grammar lesson. We're going to start on chart 16.1, page 358. So if we look at parallel structure, ladies and gentlemen, this is the first chart for chapter 16. Now, parallel structure means that you have two parts of speech that have to be the same, connected with a conjunction. Some of the most common conjunctions used in parallel structure are and, but, or, and others, but first we're going to concentrate on these three conjunctions. Now if you look at the chart on page 358, we start with the explanation on the chart. One use of a conjunction is to connect words or phrases that have the same grammatical function in a sentence. This use of conjunctions is called parallel structure. The conjunctions used in this pattern are and, but, or, and, nor, which means negative. These words are also called coordinating conjunctions. So if we look at example A, Steve and his friend are coming over to dinner. You notice Steve is a noun, the conjunction and then friend. So here Steve and friend, that means noun, conjunction and then noun. Letter B. Susan raised her hand and snapped her fingers. So here, raised is the verb. Here's the conjunction and. Snapped is a verb. So in B, you have verb plus conjunction and plus verb, connecting. That's parallel structure. In C, he is waving his arms and is shouting at us. Okay? Here, in C, verb connected with and, verb. The second auxiliary may be omitted if it is the same as the first auxiliary. In this particular case, if you notice, is in parentheses. That means you don't need to say it. So here, when you're looking at a progressive, present progressive verb, okay, you're looking at a present progressive verb with the conjunction and then shouting. Since it's also present progressive, you don't have to repeat the second auxiliary, okay? So you can say, he is waving his arms and shouting at us, or he is waving his arms and is shouting at us. In letter D, these shoes are old but comfortable. You notice old connected with the conjunction but and then comfortable. In D, we have adjective old but the conjunction and then adjective comfortable. Letter E, he wants to watch TV or listen to some music. You can say he wants to watch is an infinitive, or listen, or to listen to some music. In E, infinitive or and then infinitive again. The second to is usually omitted, again like in letter E, because you're using two infinitives connected with a conjunction. You don't have to repeat the second to, okay? So you can say he wants to watch TV or to listen to some music, or he wants to watch TV or listen to some music, okay? So remember, parallel structure is you're connecting two parts of speech that must be the same. Noun and noun, or verb and verb, gerund, gerund, infinitive, infinitive, adjective, adjective, or adverb, adverb. They're both connected with a conjunction, and, but, or, nor. So if we look at exercise 2, choose all the words that are parallel with the given words. So for example, to watch. To watch is what part of speech? Infinitive. So, is hearing an infinitive? No. To listen an infinitive? Yes. Saw an infinitive? No. To decide an infinitive? Yes. Having thought an infinitive? No. So the only two that would be parallel to the infinitive to watch would be to listen, to decide. Let's do number 2. Number 2, we have beautiful. What part of speech is beautiful? Adjective. So then now we're going to choose all the adjectives in the list. Is friendly an adjective? Yes. Is nice an adjective? Yes. Is honest an adjective? Yes. Happily an adjective? No. Goodness an adjective? No. So, for the adjective beautiful, the other parallel structure words would be friendly, nice, and honest. Look at number 3. Texting. Texting is referred to as a gerund. Part of speech is a gerund. So, is contacted a gerund? No. To type a gerund? No. Chatting a gerund? Yes. Email a gerund? No. Sending a gerund? Yes, because it ends in ing. Okay? So you could also say present participle. Rapidly. Rapidly is an adverb. Now let's find all the adverbs from the list. Difficult? No, that's an adjective. Fast? Yes. Good? No, that's an adjective. Slowly? Yes. Wild? No, that's an adjective. So for rapidly, which is an adverb, we could say the only two adverbs are fast and slowly. Now if we look at exercise 3, it says choose the correct completions. My roommate. My roommate, Kate, is friendly and, so you say friendly, okay, that's an adjective. Helpful, adjective. Kind, adjective. Kindness is not an adjective. So some of these will have one response. Some may have more than one. Let's look at each other. Okay? At each of these, I'm sorry. Friendliness and blank are admirable qualities in a roommate. What do you think? Kind? Kindness? Kindly. So in this particular case, the appropriate answer would be kindness. Because it's a noun. The same as friendliness. Look at number 3. We are opposites. She likes to be busy and, so here you say, okay, busy, it's a verb. Actively? No. Activity? No, that's a noun. Active? Yes. So she likes to be busy and active. 2 verbs, busy, conjunction, and active. Number 4, I'm a quieter type. I prefer to stay at home or blank time with a few friends. So here, to stay, okay, is an infinitive. So, spending, no. Spend, yes, because it's a simple form, and you don't have to repeat to. To spending, no. So here, I'm a quieter type. I prefer to stay home, or there's my conjunction, so I don't have to repeat to. So I can, or spend time with friends is the correct answer. Okay? If you had 2, that would also be correct. Okay. Number 5. Kate studies by listening to music and blank at the same time. So here, if you're looking at, so Kate studies by listening to music, and listening is your gerund. Sing, no. Sing is a verb. Singing, yes, that's a gerund. Sings, no. So the correct answer is B. Kate studies by listening to music and singing at the same time. Look at number 6. I sit at the library and blank in silence. So sit is a verb. So we have to find another verb from the list. Work, that's a verb. Working is a progressive verb. And worked is a past tense verb. So here sit is in the simple form. Work is in the simple form. There's my parallel structure. I sit at the library and work in silence. Number 7. We get along well, though. We're both very neat and blank. Neat is the adjective and is the conjunction. So we have to find the next adjective. So we're going to say we're both very neat and tidy. There's your other adjective. Okay. Number 8. We take turns cleaning our apartment and blank the cooking. So here you say cleaning, progressive verb, and we have to find another progressive verb. Do, no. To do, that's an infinitive. Doing, there is a progressive verb. So my correct answer is going to be C. We take turns cleaning our apartment and doing the cooking. Okay. So on exercise 4 on page 359, we're going to look at the instructions. Complete each sentence with one word that gives the same idea as the words in parentheses. Okay? So, road rage. Do you know what road rage is? Road rage is when another driver is following too close behind you, is probably blinking their lights, making hand gestures, obviously not saying hi, but if you remove your thumb, your index finger, and the last 2 fingers of your hand, you're only going to have 1 finger left. That would be a gesture that he might be making. Okay? So the best thing to do is to try to get out of the way so that these drivers can move and get on. Obviously they're in a hurry. Let them move and let them reach their destination without being angry. So, number 1. The driver ran a stop sign and, there's your conjunction and, sped down the street. So you say ran because here's a verb in the past tense. And if we look in the parentheses, he was driving at a high speed. So you say, okay, sped down the street. So you have ran, verb in the simple past, conjunction and then sped is the verb in the simple past. Look at number 2. A pedestrian was shocked and blank that she was almost hit in the crosswalk. Okay? So here you're going to say was shocked. Okay? That's the passive meaning. And her feelings were upset. So you say, okay, she was shocked and upset. as she was almost hit in the crosswalk. Go ahead and do number 3, 4, and 5, and then we're going to check. Okay, let's look at number 3. A police officer stopped him, but the driver spoke impatiently and his words were rude. So here, okay, you're going to look at, okay, you're going to look at impatiently. Here's my conjunction and. So we have to find, impatiently is an adverb. Now we have to make an adverb out of this. So you could say a police officer stopped him, but the driver spoke impatiently and rudely with ly. You could also use loudly, which is the same, okay? But rudely, rudely. Number 4. He got out of his car and walked towards the officer. He was tall and has a lot of strength. So you say, okay, was tall. Tall is an adjective. Here's my conjunction, and. So we have to find an adjective out of this list of words here. He was tall and strong. That would also be the adjective form of strength. Okay, strong. Number 5. Another police officer arrived and blank him into custody. So here's my conjunction. If we look at this, this is a verb in the past tense. So we have to find a verb in the past tense here and put it here. So you could say another police officer arrived and took him into custody, because took is the past tense of take. Okay. So number 2, a pedestrian was shocked and angry or upset that she was almost hit in the crosswalk. Number 3, a police officer stopped him, but the driver spoke impatiently and rudely or loudly. Number 4, he got out of his car and walked towards the officer. He was tall and strong. Number 5, another police officer arrived and took him into custody. All of those show you parallel structure, 2 parts of speech connected with a conjunction in each of these sentences. Now if we look at exercise 5, this is an introduction or warm-up to chart 16.4, where you use commas in parallel structure, ladies and gentlemen. So in exercise 5 it says, check the sentences that are correctly punctuated with commas. So if we look at number 1, oranges, comma, and lemons are high in vitamin C. This is not correct because we should not have a comma here, because there's only 2 parts of speech, oranges and lemons, noun and noun. When you have 2 parts of speech, you don't use a comma. Look at number 2. Oranges and lemons are high in vitamin C. That is correct because you don't need a comma. Number 3. Oranges, comma, lemons, comma, and broccoli are high in vitamin C. That is correct because you have 1, 2, 3 nouns. So you use, when you have a series of 3 or more, you use commas. Oranges, comma. Lemons, comma. Here's your conjunction, and broccoli are high in vitamin C. Look at number 4. Oranges, comma, lemons and broccoli are high in vitamin C. What do you think? Is that correct or incorrect? This is actually correct, because when you have a series of 3 or more parts of speech in a sentence that are connected with a conjunction, the last comma is optional. So you could say oranges, comma, lemons and broccoli are high in vitamin C. No comma is necessary. It has the same meaning as number 3, where we have a comma before the conjunction. But here, this is what we call optional comma. That means it's up to you if you want to put the comma or not. My preference is to put the comma. But, for example, when you're writing an essay and you have 3 parts of speech or more with using a conjunction, it's best to ask your writing instructor to see if he or she prefers for you to use the comma or not. Okay? If we look at number 5, oranges, lemons, and broccoli are high in vitamin C. That is not correct, because we have 1 noun, 2 nouns, 3 nouns, and no commas. That's incorrect. Number 6, oranges, comma, lemons, comma, and broccoli are high in vitamin C. What do you think? Is that correct or not? That is not correct, and I'll tell you why. Because you have oranges, that's a noun, comma. Lemons, that's a noun, comma. And broccoli, you should not have a comma after the last noun. It should come before the conjunction, but not after. So here, only number 2, 3, and 4 are correct. Not 1, not 5, not 6. Now we look at the chart. Here, there's the explanation. Parallel structure using commas. So if we look at example 8, Joe and Steve are in class. Steve is a noun, Joe is a noun, so we'll have 2 nouns connected with a conjunction. So no comma is necessary. So look at the explanation. No commas are used when and connects 2 parts of a parallel structure as in A. So you only have 2, Steve, Joe, connected with and, no commas necessary. It is incorrect to say Steve, comma, and Joe are in class. You don't need that comma because there's only 2 parts of speech. Okay? Look at example C. Steve, comma, Joe, and Rita are in class. And D, Steve, comma, Joe, comma, and Rita are in class. Okay? Here, remember that when you have 3 or more, the comma before and is optional. So this is correct. Steve, comma, Joe, and Rita are in class, or Steve, comma, Joe, comma, and Rita are in class. I prefer this one, D, but both are correct. Look at letter E. Steve, comma, Joe, comma, Rita, comma, Jan and Kim are in class. That's also correct. Remember that you don't need the comma after a series of 3 or more parts of speech that give you parallel structure in a sentence connected with a conjunction. You don't need the comma before the conjunction. It's still correct. Look at letter F. Steve, comma, Joe, comma, Rita, comma, Jan, comma, and Kim are in class. This is also correct. You have more than 3 parts of speech, you're using a conjunction to connect them, you can use the comma before the conjunction and, as in Jan, comma, and Kim are in class. When and connects 3 or more parts of a parallel structure, a comma is used between the first items in the series. A comma may also be used before and, as in D and F. The use of this comma is optional. Example, the writer can choose. So here, like in D and E, or I'm sorry, D and F, the use of the comma is optional. Okay? You don't have to put it, but if you want to, you may. Both are correct. The same with C and E. When you have 3 or more parts of speech, you don't have to use the comma before the conjunction, and it is still correct. Now there's a footnote at the bottom of chart 16 too. The purpose of parallel structure is to make writing clear for readers. This chart and others in this chapter describe the usual use of commas in parallel structures. Sometimes commas are required according to convention. Example, the expected use by educated language users. Sometimes the use of commas is a stylistic choice made by the experienced writer. And that's why I'm asking you to ask your writing instructor to see if he or she prefers the use of commas in parallel structure before the conjunction if you have 3 or more parts of speech. Okay? So look at exercise 7. On exercise 7, you have parallel structure makes repeating the same words unnecessary. Cross out the words that are unnecessary. Combine the given sentences into one concise sentence. Use parallel structure. So here we have Molly's party. We look at the first one. Remember, we're going to cross out repeated words that are not necessary. So number 1, Molly will open the door. Molly will greet her guests. So you have Molly will open the door, conjunction and greet her guests. Because you have open and greet. Okay? Let's do number 2 together. She is opening the door. She is greeting her guest. So we combine here. Is opening, is greeting. We don't need she. Okay? So we say, she is opening the door and greeting her guests. Okay, go ahead and look at numbers 3 through 12 and determine how would we use parallel structure. Let's look at number 3. She is taking their coats. She is hanging them up in the closet. So again, she is repeated. So you're going to say, she is taking their coats and hanging them up in the closet. Number 4. Molly is kind. Molly is generous. Molly is trustworthy. So you're going to say, Molly is kind, comma, generous, optional comma, and trustworthy. 3 adjectives: kind, generous, trustworthy. So that sentence again, Molly is kind, comma, generous, optional comma, and trustworthy. Number 5. Since she is hard of hearing, please try to speak loudly. Please try to speak clearly. So here the repeated words, please try. Okay? And to will also be optional. So you could say, since she is hard of hearing, please try to speak loudly and clearly. Again, since she is hard of hearing, please try to speak loudly and clearly. Number 6. Her boyfriend has come to the party. He has come with flowers. He has come with candy. He has come with a ring. So here you're gonna have the repeated words, he has come, he has come, he has come. So you're gonna connect them. Her boyfriend has come to the party with flowers, comma, candy, optional comma, and a ring, period. Again, her boyfriend has come to the party with flowers, comma, candy, optional comma, and a ring. Number 7. He has knelt down in front of her. He has taken her hand. He has asked her to marry him. So here, you're going to say, you're going to omit the repeated words, which are he has. He has knelt down in front of her, comma, taken her hand, optional comma, and asked her to marry him. Again, he has knelt down in front of her, he has knelt down in front of her, taken her hand, he has knelt down in front of her, comma, taken her hand, optional comma, and asked her to marry him. Number 8. Molly is kind enough to listen. Molly is calm enough to say yes. So he's saying, what words we're omitting, Molly is calm enough. Okay? So, Molly is calm enough to listen and, optional to say yes, or Molly is calm enough to listen and say yes. Remember that if you're using two infinitives, after they're connected with conjunction, the second to is not necessary. You can put it, it's correct. If you omit it, it's still correct, because you have parallel structure. Number 9. They talked about getting married in June, or they could get married in August. Okay? So in number 9, You're going to say they talked about getting married in June or in August. That's all. You don't have to repeat they could get married. So again, they talked about getting married in June or in August. No commas necessary. If we look at number 10 is using but, because it gives you contrast. Molly had expected a surprise. She did not expect a ring. So you say Molly had expected a surprise, but not a ring. Number 11. Molly was surprised. She was not shocked. So you're going to say Molly was surprised, but not shocked. You omit she was. Okay? Molly was surprised, but not shocked. No commas necessary. And number 12. They had discussed getting married at some point. They had not discussed getting married this year. Okay? So you say, they had discussed getting married at some point, but not this year. Okay? So again, they had discussed getting married at some point, but not this year. So you would eliminate they had and then getting married. Okay? If we look on page 361, ladies and gentlemen, it says here on exercise 8, first, complete the unfinished sentence in each group. Second, combine the sentences into one concise sentence that contains parallel structure. So we look at number 1, that's already done for us. If you've ever traveled to Cloudcroft, New Mexico, this is the perfect description of that road to get from Tula Rosa or Alamogordo to Cloudcroft. The road was curvy. It was curvy. The road was steep. It went down. The road was narrow. That means there was only room for 2 vehicles, one going one direction, another going the other direction. So we combine curvy, steep, narrow. The road was curvy, comma, steep, optional comma, and narrow. Look at number 2. I dislike living in a city because of the air pollution. I dislike living in the city because of the crime. So air pollution and crime are nouns. So we have to use another noun. I dislike living in a city because of, you might say, the noise. So now we are going to make one concise sentence using parallel structure. I dislike living in a city because of the air pollution, comma, crime, optional comma, and noise. Or you can also say, I dislike living in a city because of the air pollution, comma, the crime, comma, and the noise. But the is not really necessary. Okay? So look at number 3 and look at number 4. Go ahead and do number 3 and 4. And then we'll compare answers in a few minutes. So we look at number 3. Hawaii has a warm climate. Hawaii has beautiful beaches. I said beaches, okay? Hawaii has many interesting tropical trees. So you're going to combine those, but first you have to come up with another one of your own. And all of these are modified nouns because it's warm climate, beautiful beaches, tropical trees, and tropical blank. So you could say Hawaii has many interesting tropical flowers or tropical fruits. Your sentence, Hawaii has a warm climate, comma, beautiful beaches, comma, tropical fruits or tropical flowers, optional comma. Let me go over that again, I'm sorry. Hawaii has a warm climate, comma, beautiful beaches, comma, interesting tropical trees, optional comma, and tropical flowers or tropical fruits. So once again, Hawaii has a warm climate. Warm climate, modified noun. Hawaii has beautiful beaches. Beautiful beaches, modified noun. Hawaii has many interesting tropical trees. Interesting tropical trees, modified noun. So you say Hawaii has many interesting tropical, let's go with flowers. Flowers. Tropical flowers, modified noun. So you can say Hawaii has a warm climate, comma, beautiful beaches, comma, interesting tropical trees, optional comma, and tropical flowers. Okay? Now we look at number 4. I'll give you a couple of minutes to finish number 4. So we look at number 4. Mary Hart would make a good president because she works effectively with others. Mary Hart would make a good president because she has a reputation for integrity. Mary Hart would make a good president because she has a reputation for independent thinking. Okay, so here you have subject and verb. Okay, followed by adjective clauses. So, if Mary Hart works effectively with others, has a reputation for integrity, and a reputation for independent thinking, you're thinking, okay, this is a very responsible person. So you would say, Mary Hart would make a good president because she is responsible or she is a good leader. Either of those, or your own choice. I'm going to go with my choice is a good leader, so we can complete this one. Mary Hart would make a good president because she works effectively with others, comma, has a reputation for integrity, comma, independent thinking, optional comma, and is a good leader. Again, Mary Hart would make a good president because she works effectively with others, comma, has a reputation for integrity, comma, independent thinking, optional comma, and is a good leader. Now in exercise 9, it says work with a partner. Obviously, well, not right now, but hopefully we'll be able to do some interactive screen time soon. Work with a partner. Take turns completing each sentence. Share some of your partner's answers with the class. So if we look at number 1, let's do number 1 together. A good friend needs to be blank and blank. So here, describe a good friend. Obviously, you're going to use 2 adjectives. A good friend needs to be honest and loyal. A good friend needs to be a good listener and friendly, whatever your choices are. Okay, number 2. Go ahead and do number 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and we'll check in a couple of minutes. See if our answers are similar or the same. Okay, let's look at these. Let's look at number 2 first. English teachers should have these qualities: patience, informative, and knowledgeable. Those are 3 adjectives. Okay? Or what English teachers should have these qualities. You might say understanding, reasonable, and lenient, or flexible. Okay? So you would use 3 adjectives. Any 3 would do. Number 3. Blank, blank, and blank are 3 easy ways for me to relax at the end of the day. How do you relax at the end of the day? What are 3 things you do? For example, walking, reading, and watching TV are 3 easy ways for me to relax at the end of the day. What are yours? Number 4. In my free time, I like to blank, blank, and blank. What do you like to do in your free time? So for example, mine would be in my free time, I like to read, garden, that means work in the garden, and relax. So in my free time, I like to read, garden, and relax. You notice the punctuation in a series of 3 or more, connected with a conjunction to get correct parallel structure. And you notice that in these sentences, they're using the comma before the conjunction. Okay? Number 5. 3 activities I don't enjoy are blank, blank, and blank. So what are 3 activities that you don't enjoy? For me, 3 activities I don't enjoy are daydreaming, sleeping in class, and running. There you go. 3 activities I don't enjoy are daydreaming, sleeping in class, and running, especially in hot weather. And number 6. Number 6, grammar is not an option for a correct answer, okay? Blank, blank, and blank are difficult, subjects for me. So you might say, geometry, chemistry, and physics are difficult subjects for me. Or biology, history, and speech are difficult subjects for me. Three nouns. Okay, if you'll turn to page 362, ladies and gentlemen. On exercise 10, this is a warm-up for chart 16.3, which is punctuation for independent clauses, connecting them with and but. Okay, so we'll look at those 4 sentences. Put a check mark on the 3 sentences with the correct punctuation. I'll give you a minute or 2 for that. All right, let's look at number 1. You say yes or no. Thunder clouds rolled by, period. Flashes of lightning lit the sky. Is that correct? Yes. Number 2. Thunder clouds rolled by, comma, flashes of lightning lit the sky. What do you think? Is that correct? Actually, no, because we use a comma, but we need a conjunction because this is an independent clause, this is an independent clause, therefore we need a conjunction to connect the both sentences. So this is not correct. So number 2 is not correct. Number 3, thunderclouds rolled by, comma, and flashes of lightning lit the sky. Here we're using the conjunction and. So the comma is correct. So number 3 is correct. And number 4, thunderclouds rolled by, period. And flashes of lightning lit the sky, period. This is also correct. However, it is very informal. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not good practice to begin a new sentence with a conjunction. Okay? It's not good practice for that. Okay? Don't use a conjunction to begin a sentence because it's very informal. We're going to see that in the explanation. So we look at chart 16.3. Punctuation for independent clauses, connecting them with and but. Now we're going to see a variety of choices that we have here. Okay? In example A, it was raining hard, period, capital T. There was a strong wind. So here, it was raining hard is a complete sentence. There was a strong wind is a complete sentence. Therefore, these 2 are independent clauses. Example A contains 2 independent clauses. Example, 2 complete sentences. So here, you're going to use a period, not a comma, because there's no conjunction. You would not say, this is incorrect. It was raining hard, comma, there was a strong wind. Okay? A period, not a comma, is used to separate 2 independent clauses. So no comma here. Because there's 2 independent clauses, we need a conjunction to connect them, not a comma. Letter C. It was raining hard, semicolon, lowercase t, that's not a capital, it's a lowercase. There was a strong wind. A semicolon may be used in place of a period. Semicolons are used between 2 closely related ideas. So here you may use the semicolon to connect two independent clauses without, okay, without a conjunction. But it's not as common as a period. Okay. Again, I would ask your writing instructor. Because some will say, no, you need a period. Some will say, semicolon's okay. You should have used a semicolon. Okay. Look at example D. It was raining hard, comma, and there was a strong wind. So here, the conjunction and connects these two independent clauses. Letter E. It was raining hard, period, and there was a strong wind. Again, this is correct, but it's very informal to begin a sentence with a conjunction. You could do it informally, it's correct. Formally, like in essay writing, it is not correct. Letter F. It was raining hard and there was a strong wind. Letter G. It was late, comma, but he didn't care, period. And it was late, period, but, capital B, he didn't care. Again, this, you may begin a sentence with but as a conjunction, but it's very informal. And we're going to look at the explanation over here. And but, coordinating conjunctions, are often used to connect two independent clauses, like in example D and example G. Usually a comma immediately precedes the conjunction, as in D and G. See here? Here's the comma that comes before and the comma before but. In informal writing, a writer might choose to begin a sentence with a conjunction, as in letters E and H. But again, it's very informal. It was raining hard, period, and there was a strong wind, and it was late, period, but he didn't care. Yes, it's correct, but it's informal. You would not use it for an essay or formal letter, okay? In a very short sentence, a writer might choose to omit the comma in front of and, as in letter F. Omitting the comma in front of but is rare. So you can use it if it's a short sentence and the ideas are closely related. You can omit it. I like to use it. So I like to use like example D and example G. It's very rare that you omit the comma in front of but. There's a short footnote here that says in British English, a period is called a full stop. Okay? So they don't say period, they say full stop. Look at exercise 11. On exercise 11, it says, punctuate the sentences by adding commas and periods. Do not add any words. Capitalize as necessary. So, athletic conditioning class. Some members did push-ups. Some members lifted weights. So do we add a comma or a period? We look at number 1, it's already done for us. Some members did push-ups, period, capital S. Some members lifted weights. We use a period because there's no conjunction. Remember, it says do not add any words. Number 2. Some members did push-ups and some members lifted weights. I would put the comma right here. Okay? After push-ups, before the conjunction end. If you omit it, that's also correct, but it's not as common. It's better to have that comma because you're connecting two independent clauses with a conjunction, okay? Number 3. The teacher demonstrated a correct, let me start again. The teacher demonstrated correct form. A group of new members watched. So here you have two options actually. The teacher demonstrated correct form, period, capital A. A group of new members watched. Or the teacher demonstrated correct form, semicolon, lowercase a group of new members watched. So if you use a semicolon, you don't capitalize A, the article A. If you use a period, you do capitalize the article A. Both choices are correct. The period is more common now. Number 4. The teacher demonstrated correct form and a group of new members watched. So here, you would say the teacher demonstrated correct form, comma, and a group of new members watched. Okay? This is a little bit longer than number 2. So I would definitely use the comma here before the conjunction and. Number 5. An assistant was available to help, but only a few people needed him. So here you would use an assistant was available to help, comma, but only a few people needed him. Remember what it said in the chart. Omitting the comma in front of but is rare. So you would use the comma right here in front of but, because it's connecting two independent clauses. Number 6. An assistant was available to help, only a few people needed him. So you would say, an assistant was available to help, period, capital O, only a few people needed him, period. You use a period because you're connecting, you're not connecting, there's two independent clauses, you cannot connect them because there's not a conjunction, so you have to use a period. You could use also a semicolon. An assistant was available to help, semicolon, only, lowercase o, a few people needed him. But the period is more common. Both are correct. If we look at exercise 12 on page 363. Check the correct sentences. Punctuate the incorrect ones. Do not add any words. Capitalize as necessary. So, email excerpts. These means that these are little sentences or parts of sentences that people use in emails. Okay? So we look at number 1. Let's do number 1 together. I'd like to be able to help. Let me know what you need. That's not correct. Okay? The correct way would be, I'd like to be able to help. Period. Capital L. Let me know what you need. Go ahead and do number 2, 3, 4, and 5. Remember, if it's correct, put a check mark. If it's incorrect, you need to make the proper corrections for it. Punctuation, capitalization. Okay? Okay. So number 2, I'll be happy to come. Thank you for inviting me. Is this correct or not? It is correct. I'll be happy to come, period. Thank you for inviting me. We use a period, capital T, to begin the second independent clause because the two are complete sentences, independent clauses. There is no conjunction, therefore we use the period. Number 3, it's really hard to know what to do. We don't have much information yet. Okay? Here you have two independent clauses. One is it's really hard to know what to do. The other is we don't have much information yet. There is no conjunction. So here we would put a period after do, capitalize the W. So you would say, it's really hard to know what to do, period, capital W. We don't have much information yet. Number 4, I'll pay you back. I get paid tomorrow. Is this correct? Yes. So you put a check mark. I'll pay you back, period. That's an independent clause. I get paid tomorrow, period. That's another independent clause. There is no conjunction to connect them, so the period is necessary. So number 4 is correct. Number 5. Let's wait to see what happens. We don't want to make a decision prematurely. Well, ask yourself, is this correct or not? And it is not correct. It's incorrect. You have two independent clauses. Let's wait to see what happens, and we don't want to make a decision prematurely. So you're going to say, let's wait to see what happens, period. Capital W. We don't want to make a decision prematurely. Okay? So the only correct ones are number 2 and number 4. The others, we have to use a period and capitalize because they have two independent clauses without a conjunction. Okay. We're not going to do exercise 13. So we'll look at exercise 14. Now, this is using all the information that you learned for charts 16.1, 16.2, and 16.3. Parallel structure, using commas in parallel structure, and punctuation for independent clauses connecting them with and but. Okay? Work with a partner. Find and correct the errors with parallel structure and punctuation. So, in number 1, paragraph 1, we have 3 paragraphs. In paragraph 1, there is only one error, and it's going to be parallel structure. Okay? Let's look at it. Zip lining. Have you ever been zip lining? You know, traveling on a cable from point A to point B. It could be like, for some people it's exciting, and for some people they're a nervous wreck. Okay, I myself would not like to do that. However, some of you may have already done that. So let's look at paragraph 1. Ziplining began as a way to get people across impassable places like canyons and crossing rivers. But in the 1980s, Costa Rica, with its emphasis on ecotourism, turned it into a thrilling adventure. The opportunity to soar over spectacular scenery has made ziplining one of Costa Rica's top tourist attractions. Okay? So here, if we look at it, actually, the one error in paragraph 1 is going to be on the second line. And it's parallel structure, and it's with nouns. So here it is. Ziplining began as a way to get people across impassable places like canyons and rivers. Crossing does not belong there. So we would cross out crossing. Okay? So it's going to be canyons, noun, and conjunction, rivers. That's the only error here. Okay? Now, I'll give you a few minutes to look at paragraphs 2 and 3, and then I'll read you the corrections. Okay, here we go. Paragraph 2. The concept is very simple, period. Capital A. A cable is strung across a scenic area, comma, for example, comma, a lush forest or fast-moving river, period. Capital O. One end of the cable is higher than the other, period. A harness for the rider hangs from the cable, period. Capital R. Riders are strapped tightly into the harness, period. They climb to a platform, comma, jump off, comma, and fly. Not flying, and fly, simple form, through the air. Again, let me repeat paragraph 2. The concept is very simple, period. Capital A. A cable is strung across a scenic area, comma, for example, comma, a lush forest or a fast-moving river, period. Capital O. One end of the cable is higher than the other, period. A harness for the rider hangs from the cable, period. Capital R. Riders are strapped tightly into the harness, period. They climb to a platform, comma, jump off, comma, and fly through the air. Last paragraph. Ziplining's popularity has spread worldwide, period. Capital T. The longest zip line is in Sun City, Africa, where one cable is 1.2 miles or 2 kilometers long, period. Average speeds are 75 miles or 120 kilometers per hour, exclamation point. Not all zip line rides are as hair-raising and, conjunction, companies around the world strive to provide exciting and safe, not safety, safe, rides that will appeal to a variety of experience levels and age groups, period. Let me repeat, paragraph 3. Ziplining's popularity has spread worldwide, period. Capital T. The longest zip line is in Sun City, Africa, South Africa, comma, where one cable is 1.2 miles or 2 kilometers long, period. Average speeds are 75 miles, 120 kilometers per hour, exclamation point. Not all zipline rides are as hair-raising, and companies around the world strive to provide exciting and safe rides that will appeal to a variety of experience levels and age groups, period. Okay, this concludes today's lesson. On Wednesday, we're going to finish chapter 16. It's a very short chapter, but we're also going to do towards the end, I'm going to go over the responses, the answers for that study guide that I gave you for the midterm. Please remember, the midterm is on Thursday, not Friday. Also, you have to log on at 8 a.m. in the morning, okay? You cannot log on after 10 because it will not be available. The office wants us to take the midterm during the regular normal class hours. So you would have from 8 to 10 a.m. It will not be available after that. Okay? Have a good day, everyone.